Hello and welcome to the Program Management in the Art of Communication Certification Program. We're in our fifth course, Storytelling that Delivers Program and Project Outcomes, and in our first week we're going to talk about the structure and components of stories. In our second module, we're going to talk about how stories work. So this is your brain on stories. As you're listening to a story, and if I have a presentation or I'm showing you a movie, you're also viewing parts of the story, your brain is undergoing all kinds of different activity. So let's start looking at some of the major components here. First, there's the neural coupling. As I'm telling you the story and maybe showing you the story, you're going to sink in with what I'm telling you and what you're seeing, and you're going to basically live that story in your head as I tell it to you. And the story is going to have some emotional highs and lows. So there may be some moments where the hero is facing great danger, you start feeling fear, and then when the hero resolves that situation, you may get a dopamine rush because you now feel relieved that the hero no longer faces that danger, and it lasts until the hero faces another danger. And then we have all kinds of cortex activity going on, and essentially what you're listening to and what kind of language I use, there's all kinds of fact processing going on in different areas of your brain, and areas that are dealing with language production and language comprehension so that you can better understand what I'm talking about and relate to it. And then, as you get deeper into the story, our brain waves start syncing. And they've shown it through brain scans. And you're starting to mirror, there's a special set of neurons here that help you mirror the experiences that you're seeing on screen or you're hearing and kind of having you live through those same experiences. That's why your brain, so when a good story comes along, that's why you find it so engrossing. And sometimes you feel like you're losing yourself and you're living that story.
Hi. I hope you're enjoying this free lesson from the University of Maryland's Project Management Center for Excellence. If you want to check out more lessons just like this one, click the link in the description below where you'll be able to go to our website on executive project management. There, you can find edX courses, professional short courses where you can learn from an instructor like me, as well as request custom team training for you and your organization. All right, let's get back to the lesson and I'll see you at the end.
In your brain are these things called mirror neurons. They are a recent discovery, and they essentially help us imagine ourselves in the place of others. So let's take an everyday, ordinary experience, coffee. And this is your brain on coffee. Now, I have a cup of coffee, and we have different systems going on here. Human mirror neuron system, visual inputs in the mirror neuron system. So as you watch me drink coffee, I want you to take the journey with me. So you see me reaching for the cup, okay? And as I'm reaching for the cup, it travels to another part of your brain. And in the prefrontal cortex, you are saying, okay, he's reaching for a coffee cup. I think he wants to take a drink of coffee. And you're right. And then when you got that information, it travels to another part of your brain. And you are now imagining yourself having a cup of coffee and taking a sip of coffee. And then we complete this circuit here. So you go from watching me drink coffee to you imagining drinking coffee and how it feels. And this was interesting how mirror neurons were discovered because they were doing some brain studies on some chimpanzees, I believe. And a researcher came into the room and he was eating an ice cream cone. And they still had the chimpanzees wired up to the brain scans. And the part of the brain in the chimpanzee that deals with food started lighting up, and it was as if the chimpanzee was eating the ice cream cone. But what they were doing is they were watching someone else eat an ice cream cone, and they were imagining themselves eating that. And that's how mirror neurons were discovered. Now, why that's important is because when you're talking to folks and you're giving them a story, and if it's a good enough story and a compelling story, people can actually put themselves in your place. They can put themselves in the hero's place in that story and live that story. The real power of stories is help us make sense of the world. And a lot of brain research out there, people are finding that our brains are pretty much prediction machines. And when we do things, a lot of times when we're doing thinking, we're trying to predict someone's behavior, we're trying to predict what's going to happen next. And this is based on our experience. And we kind of encode our experience into stories. So when we're out there looking at the world, and most of the time it's through our prefrontal cortex, which is our higher order thinking, we're trying to make predictions about what's going to happen next. So we're going to try to predict how this project team member is going to react if I give them certain news. Or if I adjust the budget this way, how is the project going to accomplish what it needs to accomplish with lesser resources? Or if I need to put another task on the project or program, how can I adjust for this? So we use stories to help us kind of encapsulate a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and to essentially help us understand the cause and effect. If I do this, what's going to happen? So when you take a look at stories, a large part of the structure is about the cause and effect. If I do this, what's going to happen? If then. And that's important because it helps us with our brains because they are prediction machines. And stories are good ways for us to encapsulate the lessons that we've learned and how to better predict what's going to happen. So I hope you enjoyed learning more about how do stories work in our first week of the structure and components of stories. And this is on our 5th course, Storytelling That Delivers Program and Project Outcomes.
Hey there, did you enjoy that lesson as much as I did? If you did, go ahead and give us a like. If you want to see another one, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, put them below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Moreover, is there somebody in your life who really needs this lesson right now? If so, go ahead and share it with them. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Now, we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson where you can learn even more from the University of Maryland Project Management Center for Excellence. Thanks so much.